Luke.
Glory to you, O God.
Jesus said to his disciples, "Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. Stop judging, and you will not be judged. Stop condemning, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and gifts will be given to you. A good measure packed together, shaken down, and overflowing will be poured into your lap. For the measure with which you measure will in return, be measured out to you." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Dear brothers and sisters, good morning.
Good morning, Father.
As I reflect on the Gospel, which is from Luke chapter 6, verses 36 to 38, I'm reminded of a noontime show that has been very popular. Bawal ang Judgmental. I'm sure some of us have been watching this. And it's very true. That's what the Lord has reminded his disciples. Don't be judgmental towards your fellow men, with one another. Be merciful as your Father is merciful. And this really is a big challenge because we know we are prone to exacting vengeance or revenge. We want to get even. When we get hurt, pag tayo ay nasaktan o sinaktan, it's something that is so inherent in man that is really the effect or the consequence of sin. We have inherited that from those who first committed the sin. So ito yung challenge ng ating gospel. But the first reading from the book of the prophet Daniel tells us that God is so great, awesome. He's merciful. And it's something that Daniel tried to convince his own people. Remember, Daniel at this time was with his people in bondage. They were in captivity in another land. And so they were living under duress, so to speak. They were not free. So in this context, the reflection or the message of Daniel is, Lord, you are great. And my dear people, let us keep that in mind. The reason why we are suffering, it's because we have been so sinful. We have been wicked. We have done evil. We have rebelled and departed from the commandments and the laws of God. We have not obeyed your servants, the prophets, who spoke in your name. So this is Daniel reminding his people that God is a merciful God. But we all know that even if Daniel would keep repeating this among his own people, this is something that he had struggled a lot together with all the prophets. Hindi kuha ito ng kanyang mga kababayan. Hindi nila magets sa salita ng mga kabataan ngayon. And for us, we turn to the Lord Jesus and ask ourselves, Lord, how am I? Paano ba ako? As we are now in the second week of Lent, we ask ourselves, Lord, if my journey during this Lenten season is to be meaningful, then let that journey be a journey of mercy. Two kinds of mercies. Your mercy, O God, that is absolute and conditional, and my mercy towards others. Bless me, O Lord, and touched me during this journey of this season of Lent, because the Lord tells us, if you forgive, you will be forgiven. If you will give gifts, you will also be given in return. And the following lines or verses are so meaningful, because here a group called El Shaddai uses this as their dictum or their motto. A good measure packed together, shaken down, overflowing will be poured into your laps. Siksik, liglig, umaapaw. Yan po yung kanilang ginagamit na pagpapaalala sa bawat isa of the great love of God for man and His mercy. And therefore, in the end, we follow the lines or the verses of this gospel. The measure with which you measure will in return be measured out to you. Following this logic, if we are merciful, if we are forgiving, if we are kind, then it will return to us in terms of kindness, mercy, and forgiveness. I remember somebody told me, she says, Father, meron lumapit sa akin. Somebody came to me, and I did not recognize that person, but he says, I know you. Oh, I could never forget you. Why? When I was in need, I came to you. You were very, very generous. You helped me. I was so young then. And I told myself, I will give back to him whatever he gave me when the time would come. And then he said, oh, talaga. And the man said, siguro di mo alala, ako po yung bata na walang makain. Ay humingi ako at walang kaduda-duda. You took out something from your wallet and you said, take this. It was a big amount. I was so happy as a young boy. Brought it home because my family was hungry. They had nothing to eat. Then I told the Lord, Lord, if I will be given the chance one day, I will thank that man and give him back what he had done to me. That's what good karma is all about. So ganun yun. Sometimes we pag hindi naman maganda ginawa mo, babalikan ka. I remember somebody told me they were riding on a jeep, and then suddenly one of the passengers ran wild, and he turned to the one in front of him and he said, aha, ang tagal na kitang hinahanap, walang yaka, sinaksak. Could you imagine that? Because evil was done towards that person. He exacted revenge without that man knowing it, because it happened many years ago. If it's a good deed, we will be repaid. If it's evil, what's out? But let's invest goodness, and the investment will pay off in the end, because the measure that we measure others will be the same measure that will be given back to us. Jesus, the divine healer, have mercy on us.